healthy and can play. Okay, not halfway, not almost, but all the way. Okay, I hope you're listening to this, Jerry and Steven and Will Mclain, all three of y'all. Make sure y'all go to 2livestewsradio.com and listen to this show on the podcast. But another thing, Jonathan Cooper goes to the 49ers. I mean, I would have liked to keep him, but, Angelina, you called it, breaking news, Cowboys have just signed Cameron Fleming. He was with the Patriots last year. So we did get him. This is something we were definitely beating around the bush about. It was being talked about. So what does this do now for this offensive line? Go ahead, Tyler. I heard you saying yes. I think that was you in the background.
I have been screaming for this. We needed a tackle. Lyle Collins is not a tackle. He is a guard. That's where they're going to move him back now that we have a tackle. He could be a swing tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if they go after another tackle in the draft. I personally wanted Will Hernandez out of UTEP because he reminds me of Larry Allen. But now that you actually sign a starting tackle, you can maybe sign another swing tackle because Tyron Smith, as much as I love him, I only think he has another year or two worth of great football, and it's time to hang it up. That back and neck is tearing him down. That is a big signing by Dallas. Smart.
Yeah. And that goes to the news that also just happened that Witten got his contract restructured. Now, I get it. We are a fan of back-loading money. We would just push money back. Let's push it back a little bit further. Let's push it back to next year. We can continue to pay. Like it's great in the immediate reaction, but 3 years from now, we're going to continue to be in cap hell like we're in right now. And go ahead, Kevin, share your thoughts on this new signing and also with the Witten, restructuring.
Yeah, I like the moves that they're making from a cap standpoint. I mean, Travis Frederick's already restructured his deal, creating $7 million in cap space. Jason Witten now restructuring his deal, creating $3.5 million in cap space. The Dallas Cowboys, as Tyler mentioned, or as you mentioned, signing Cameron Fleming away from the New England Patriots, who lost their second starting offensive tackle this offseason after Nate Solder went to sign with the New York Giants. So the Patriots got some holes to fill on their offensive line, and the Dallas Cowboys are taking advantage of some of that, obviously signing Cameron Fleming. So the Dallas Cowboys are a team, and we had Bobby Belt on, Cowboys reporter for SB Nation Radio yesterday. It's a team that notoriously doesn't spend a whole lot of money in free agency. So what Jerry and Stephen Jones like to do is try to create and manipulate space within the roster to try and ensure that they are staying, within reasonable cap space room to make some minor moves that allow this team to continue to try and improve. But at some point, you're going to have to create the financial flexibility, and that may be potentially meaning cutting a guy in Des Bryant who's owed $12.5 million this coming year. And obviously with the signing of Allen Hurst, he may be expendable at this point. But I like the moves that they're trying to do to create cap relief when it comes to this football team. And the Cowboys may not be done, but as Tyler mentioned, this offensive line had to be addressed. The left tackle position was a revolving door when Tyron Smith was out dealing with his various injuries, especially his back. And I think Adrian Claiborne just got another sack on Dak Prescott after today. But at the same time, the Dallas Cowboys team is trying to make marginal moves that at least show some activity, because as Tyler mentioned, this is a team that was not making the type of activity and moves that you would think a team that just went 9-7 coming off of a 13-3 season that you would think would help to make this football team be better. But they're starting to show some activity, but at the same time, this is a team that notoriously doesn't spend a whole lot of money. This is a team, as Bobby mentioned yesterday on our show, a team in the Philadelphia Eagles spent $23 million alone last year in free agency, and over the last 5 years, the Dallas Cowboys spent $22 million. So you could see the kind of inactivity that the Cowboys have when it comes to free agency, but they're trying to be smart with their money, and it looks like players on this roster are trying to help them out in order to create some relief going into the 2018 NFL season, though.
Yeah, and funniest comment of the day in the chat room. I gotta probably give this one a round of applause. Angry Black Man says Cowboys will still be paying Witten in 2030. And then RC says one of those Bobby Bonilla contracts. those lifetime contracts, which they look. I like Jason Witten and all, but at some point you have to realize that you're more hurting the team than you're helping the team. At this point, with those small routes that you run, like he was on a show here in Dallas, and he said, basically, I only run 2 routes. And that's the same every single game. You're going to see him run that curl route where he runs a couple yards, he catches the ball, and then he does his twinkle toes because he doesn't, it's like he is afraid of going to the ground. Like, just fall. You're like wasting time doing these twinkle toes edition for the Cowboys. Like, stop doing it. So, look, I was all for it. Look, I'm going to say this right now. I was all for Witten getting cut. You had a great time here. We got Rico Gathers in the waiting, another former basketball player coming to the NFL. Is he going to be tremendously successful? I don't know, but give it a shot. You don't have anything to lose. But I want some athleticism at that position. I'm tired of these 3 and 4 yard routes that we don't get a first down with. So that's my Jason Witten rant of the day. Tyler, talk about Jason Witten. What do you think that we should continue to go down this road, or you think it's time to just split and go our separate ways?
Look, man, I've been also screaming to get another tight end for years, but if you think of it from an organization standpoint, as much as they want to maybe move on, he is unfortunately the leader of the team. And somehow he keeps making the Pro Bowl. I don't know how. But somehow he keeps popping up. So how do you let go of a guy who's the leader of your team and continues to make the Pro Bowl? But Dallas, man, with this salary cap situation, they got to stop with this reconstruction cap. Like right now, 1/3 of the cap goes to 4 people, and 1 person is retired.
Yes.
That is not good. Before the season, before free agency started, they only had close to $100,000 worth of salary cap space. And most of that is coming from putting this money on the back end. They got to figure out another way to create cap, whether it's Dez is going to have to take half or he's going to have to go. Witten restructured, so you know he's not going anywhere. But all this putting money on the back end, that's not doing nothing but killing Dallas for the next year.
Yeah, and the reports are coming out that with this Allen Hurns signing, so the Allen Hurns signing happened yesterday, and they're talking, or the day before the yesterday, but they're talking about keeping Dez now with this Allen Hurns signing because they're saying it wasn't that much money to sign him.
It was $12 million.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't even know if they sat down to talk to Dez. At some point though, you gotta have a meeting to sit down and talk about it. And the way Dez is, I don't see him calmly talking about this situation because he is already pissed about having to take a pay cut if it ends up coming to that. But I'm ready for this meeting to happen so they can figure out where they're going to go from here because it's a lot of limbo right now, and I don't know if neither one of them know what they're getting ready to do.
He has to take the pay cut. The production hasn't been there in like 4 years. Either you take this pay cut or you getting cut. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, he's owed $16.5 million this year, and 12.5 of that in base salary and $4 million of it in a signing bonus. And as Tyler mentioned, his production has declined and injuries have increased with this player over the last several years. Obviously, his best year was in 2014, but he has not been the same player. Now, some of that is a function of the offense changing over the last several years, going to a more run-heavy offense, but at the same time, he is not the same productive player that he once was, and he needs to realize that. And if he doesn't, take a pay cut, he could find himself not wearing number 88 anymore at all. But at the same time, I would like to see what an Allen Hurns, Des Bryant combination at wide receiver looks like, just maybe at a little bit cheaper price given, Des Bryant's production over the last several years. So,
yeah.
Guys?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Allen Hurns has the same route tree as Dez. They're almost the exact same receiver. So it's not like we got anybody better. We just got a cheaper Dez Bryant.
Now, I was excited about this signing because I've seen what he's been able to do. But the only thing is, the kid hasn't played a full season in his whole career. Last year, I can look up the stat, but I think he played 10 games. So you have someone that has great potential, this is what the Cowboys do. We sign people with great potential, but when it comes to actually putting it out on the field, it's always another story. So I don't know if we're going to see something different here. But I got to read a couple of funny comments in the chat room. I knew these were coming. I already knew it. So I'm already ready for it. But Dollars and Cents says, Jason has pictures of Tyler on the wall. He says, right now Witten has a picture of a DVD with Tyler's name on it, telling him, watch what you say on the BS3 show. Angry Black Man says, leader of a non-playoff team with one playoff win in over a decade. Come on, time to put Witten out to pasture for a long drive in the woods. Oh my God, these are hilarious. The other one I got to read is Jelani, who's trying to be funny. He says, Cowboys re-sign, breaking news, Cowboys re-sign T.O., delaying his Hall of Fame induction because Jerry wants to have someone else to blame instead of Jason Witten. Oh my God. I love it.
Low key though, I bet you T.O. will be more productive than Des Bryant has been over the last 4 years.
Jerry, now here's the other thing. Is Jerry going to be involved with this meeting with Dez? Because if Jerry's there, Jerry's probably going to lean towards Dez. He just...
I hope to God not.
They need to lock the door, okay? They need to say, hey, Jerry, look over there. There's your flip phone. And then they lock the door. Lock the door on him. Or just kick him over on the ground.
Find some of them little young white girls you like to chill out with. Keep them away from Dad.
Oh yeah, he'll be definitely following them around the offices over there in Frisco. Where's that young lady at? He's over there in that room over there. Jerry, go over there.
Him and his boy Jared Richardson, they can go have a field day somewhere.
Oh, Dollars and Cents says Witten signed new deal with Skechers for a new run walk football clip. Oh God, yeah, he does. I don't think he has a deal with Skechers. Okay, Skechers is not in the business of making cleats. If they are, they need to retire those immediately. And Witten needs to retire if that's his choice of shoe. Here's another thing I wanted to talk about. DeMarco Murray has been released. Obviously, that happened earlier this week. Hasn't been signed yet. Would either one of you guys welcome DeMarco Murray back on this team? Obviously, him being a backup, but it's gonna come with a pay cut now because he's not a star. He's not a starter anymore. Obviously, but would you welcome him back? I'll start with you, Kevin.
I mean, why not? I mean, at this point, I mean, you never know with Ezekiel Elliott. I think he'll be fine going forward as far as his play on the football field. Alfred Morris started to get better as his backup as the season went on with the Dallas Cowboys. But at the same time, this would have been a better idea a couple of years ago. But we have our franchise guy. I don't think there isn't necessarily any room for DeMarco at this point, except to sign a one-day contract and retire with the Dallas Cowboys. Because the running back and fullback stable is position is pretty stable at this point with Ezekiel Elliott and Alfred Morris, and then a guy in Rod Smith who played pretty well for the Dallas Cowboys this past year at the fullback position, and his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and at times be an explosive runner for this Cowboy football team. So, if DeMarco wants to come back